When you go in to speak, you're so concerned about how you look. You don't matter. I think it's just such an empowering thing that just the weight just gets lifted off your shoulders and you go out and you just give it everything you got. Just recognize that if you make it about them and not about you, you've got nothing to worry about, and just give it everything you got every time.
Hi, and welcome to SpeakerLife. I'm your host, Leah Woodford, and I am so profoundly excited today because I have Matt Leitz. You guys may already know about him from chatbots, but welcome to the show, Matt.
I'm so excited to be here, Leah.
Matt, you have built such an amazing company with chatbots, and you're building a powerful brand. But how did you personally step into the spotlight as a speaker?
A little bit accidentally, as these things usually go. I've been in this kind of world since, it was 2007. It was before the big real estate crash. We had a company called realestateinvestor.com, and I was the guy behind the scenes, and then that ended up, went really well, and then didn't go well, and then it.
Well, that's real estate.
That's the way that it goes, right? Helped co-found another company in the same industry that did extremely well. But I was always sort of in the shadow a little bit. And then when we accidentally stumbled upon chatbots and AI, actually at the time I owned a board game company, all of a sudden there was no other frontman, so it had to be me. And since I'd worked so long behind the scenes, nobody knew who I was. So when it came to me speaking, I focused all of my energy into creating a talk that could help potential event hosts and people who are doing webinars actually monetize their audience. And that's what I did. And I just got so good at delivering the same talk that everybody loved me and they wanted me to come speak to their people.
Well, you guys, the first time I actually saw Matt, it was on a webinar, and there were 750 people on a webinar, which is unheard of, Matt. But I actually bought from you guys. I was so impressed.
Thank you.
So what's it like speaking and then doing a webinar? What's the difference?
In my opinion, there's not much difference in terms of the delivery. You want to be just as animated, just as excited, but you kind of need to plan it out a little bit, because the difference between a webinar and being on stage is you got people captivated in a room, they're not going to leave. So on a webinar, you need to make sure that you're doing things to keep people engaged. So what I like to do is, say you have 60 minutes or 90 minutes, is plan particular spots throughout that webinar so that you're asking the audience to give you some sort of answer or, really get involved.
Engagement.
Yeah, because, they call them trial closes when you're sitting in a stage, like raise your hand if, and it's a little different. But at the same time, you got to keep people engaged, especially the most important thing on a webinar is the first 5 minutes. I mean, the first 60 seconds, right? With anything else. But if you ever watch the stats on a webinar, plummets right away, unless you know how to really grab their attention. And how do you do that? You make sure that they understand what's in it for them.
So how did you learn this, Matt?
The same way as everybody else. You start buying all the courses. I was a student of Dan Kennedy way back in the day. And, I had the benefit of working with some talented speakers, and I would learn this stuff and then I would bring it to them and write their scripts. And since then I've, worked with billion-dollar sort of, speakers.
Oh, you worked with Grant Cardone, I think. Yeah,
I got the opportunity. We've helped them with things like webinars and various things like that. So just being able to watch, brilliant people like this do their thing, and then, be able to kind of test out, hey, what if we tried this or did that? And it's like, anything else, the more you do it, the better you get at it. And, for us, the vehicle that's really paid the biggest dividends are the webinars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm really excited about that. And one of the reasons that I wanted to bring you on the show is because of chatbots. Because as you know, most speakers are solopreneurs.
Yeah.
And a chatbot can actually help them.
Yeah, well, I think it's just there's all this new wave of technology, AI, and you're hearing it everywhere. The reality of it is, especially if you're new, right? Being a speaker, it sounds very glamorous, right? Oh, I speak, and it's
but we know.
Yeah, no, I did the math a few years ago, and when I did, I calculated how much I was making per hour speaking, and it ended up being it was like $36,000 or something crazy, right?
Wow.
So everybody's
I need to speak more like him.
Yeah, well, I'm like, well, why don't you speak more? Well, there's a lot that goes into that process to get there. And if you are a solopreneur getting started, it's like, okay, well, how does all this work happen? And, a chatbot is a way, or various AI tools, you can have work happening 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that gives you the opportunity to get yourself in those positions so you can do those high dollar speaking opportunities, which is what you really want.
So that was great, Matt. But beyond chatbots, what are some AI tools that new speakers or any kind of speaker can use to really help their speaking business?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the number one goal is to get more speaking gigs. And there's a ton of AI tools you could use for outreach or for social media. But at the end of the day, if you want to get more speaking gigs, what do you need? You need to get more well-known.
Right.
And if you want to get well-known, you've got to build a real business. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. Our ads are seen hundreds of thousands of times, hundreds of millions of times, because of the fact that we've got a business behind it. We can monetize those ads. So using AI, first of all, to create the advertisements themselves, we've made some really cool stuff. And I appreciate
Yes, you have.
and believe it or not, those are built with very inexpensive AI tools. So you can take an ad where, you're in it and you could replace yourself with a robot or another character. Or if you don't want to be on camera at all, there's some really cool tools where you literally can just type in what you want or have AI type in, a script for you, and it just pumps it out with an avatar. So there's so many options. But at the end of the day, if you want to get that level of scale, you need to have more behind you than just your speaking, right? You need to have a product, you need to have a service, and you need to be able to have all of these pieces put together so that you can monetize and really get yourself out there. Because you can never, social media is awesome, but it never guarantees that you're going to get traffic. There's no other way to do that other than going out, just paying, Mr. Zuckerberg or Mr. Google, right? And that's the only way that you can guarantee that you're going to get the eyeballs that you need.
Now, what are 3 tips new speakers can put into their business right now to get more gigs?
3 tips. All right. Number 1 would be to make sure you have a really good way of capturing leads. There's nothing, obviously chatbots are amazing. Chatbots are a really cool alternative way, as we were discussing, that give you something unique.
Yes.
So you can, instead of just saying, hey, come to my webpage, you could say, hey, have your website analyzed by our AI chatbot, or get an instant offer from our AI bot to buy your home, or whatever that might be. So make sure that lead capture mechanism, whether it's a chatbot, a landing page, or both, are in place and ready to rock. All right. Number 2, and this is stuff you might say, well, this is basics, but the key to AI, because they're always, when people talk about AI, Leah, they're always looking for a silver bullet, something special. The thing is the fundamentals of the stuff doesn't change. All right. Because number 1, if you're capturing the leads, number 2 is you need a duplicatable, scalable, predictable way to turn those leads into sales. Okay. And the good news is AI can help with all of this stuff. All right. There's no substitute for having someone, a human being on a telephone, whether that's you or it's someone in your office, actually having a real conversation and getting a deal done. But the good news is, with script writing or email writing or whatever it might be, all of that can be assisted by AI. And number 3 is just recognizing that if you're by yourself, you're no longer by yourself. You've got ChatGPT with you. All right. If you've got 4 people, you now have 8 people.
Wow.
And it's just thinking every single day of how can I use these tools that are here to get more done with higher quality? Because the thing that I hate more than anything is when people say, oh, well, we're going to get AI so that, we can let our staff go or hire less people. And I say, forget about that. If you're a major corporation, yeah, they're doing that. They're downsizing. But people like us, small business owners that are still the heart, of this country and of the global economy, we can use AI to empower more people to get more stuff done.
Wow. So impactful. So Matt, you work with a lot of speakers and coaches. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you're seeing in the industry?
It's the same mistakes that all entrepreneurs make. And, that's to not invest their time in the places that they should be. Because, especially if you're a small business, you only got a couple resources that matter, right? Your money.
Right.
Everybody talks every day about where do I invest my money? But it's your time. We know that's way more valuable than your money. And if you can stop, chasing things that don't matter and wasting your time, or instead of doing projects that are going to pay you once, invest into things like automation. right? That's what we love about automation is, it might cost you a little bit of money and a little bit of time up front, but once it's in place, it just keeps on going. It just runs itself. So just make sure to protect your time with your life, right? Once it's gone, it's gone.
That's true.
And put that time into something that's going to pay dividends for years to come.
You do a lot with charity. And one in particular, can we talk about Special Olympics and why that's so close to your heart?
Always. Yeah, it's been my favorite. I think I've been volunteering for almost 20 years now with the Special Olympics. And what I love most about it, I think, is that anyone involved in it at any level, volunteering, when you go to one of these events, you think that you're going to help, these amazing athletes. And in the end, every time you leave having gained the most from it. I mean, it's so uplifting and so empowering. And so we had the opportunity here in the Phoenix Valley to start an event, and the format we picked was bowling, because who doesn't love bowling? We call it the Bowl-a-thon Bash, and what we do is we pair two local people from local companies, sponsors, with two athletes per lane, and it is the most fun that you could ever imagine. So it raises a good amount of money, but more importantly, it's just one of those experiences that everyone goes back to work, and they just are so excited about the fact that they could give back, and they were so touched by these athletes. So it's so special to me that we could be involved in that, and any way that I can help the organization, I always love to.
Did you guys notice the way he lights up when he talks about this? That's one of the things that I noticed about you when you speak. If you are on fire with something, what's it like when you speak and it lands with your audience?
Oh, that's such a great question. I would say that, thank you for that. First of all, that's a great comment, the compliment that, really means a lot to me. I think that the thing is that when you go in to speak, you're so concerned about how you look, right? And this is just natural. It's just the ego. And boy, I hope I do a good job, and I hope that they like me. And I think that there's just something about when you can flip that and really get to the point where you authentically recognize that you don't matter. I think it's just such an empowering thing that the weight just gets lifted off your shoulders, and you go out and you just give it everything you got. And you just know that it's like, I'm here to serve these people, and they could care less that I say things exactly right? They have no expectations of me. They don't care if, I don't look good, I don't sound good. All they care about is I do my best to really help them where they are. And when you remember that you're not talking to a group of people, you're talking to a bunch of individuals, and you can try to touch each and every person. And literally, especially if you can be in a room, that's like one of the biggest breakthroughs I had, is like, I'm not talking to the sea of people. I'm talking to the gentleman back there in the third row, and I'm talking to this young lady right here in the front. And just recognize that if you make it about them and not about you, you've got nothing to worry about, and just give it everything you got every time.
What was one time where you spoke where you just know you were so touched because it landed exactly where it needed to?
The time that I spoke that I knew that I best served the audience was the time, I think there was about 80 people in the room. And of the 80, 79 bought the program that I was selling. 80 tried to purchase, but there was one gentleman whose credit card declined and we couldn't track him down.
Those are really great numbers.
It sounds like a story that's not even true, except for, there was enough people there to validate that it was real. Because I truly do believe that if you want to serve someone, selling them is really the gateway to being able to do that at a higher level.
But it doesn't feel like sales with you.
I appreciate that, because I don't look at it as sales, I look at it as service, and I'm not worried about, boy, am I going to make money? And you could say, well, Matt, you're doing well. It's a lot easier to not worry about making money. But if you really do make it about them, they're going to feel that. And I think that they do, because when I sell, I am not shy. I will let them know at the beginning, middle, and end that they're going to buy from me, and they're going to feel good about it. And I think the fact that I believe in what I do at the level that I do, and that I care about them enough to really make sure If they don't want to do it, not a problem with me, but I kind of feel bad if they're going to miss out, on me and my amazing team helping them out. And obviously you can't replace that.
No.
Having a team of people who care, who deliver, but I can't imagine, I can't think of a time where I had more just direct feedback, from the audience and from the universe that, hey, I'm doing exactly what I should.
And how did that make you feel?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. For everyone watching, I really do believe that speaking is one of the a lot of people out there say, well, talk is cheap. Well, at the same time, those people that have changed the world more than any other have often done it standing in front of a group of people and sharing their dreams, sharing their vision, sharing how they can help. And I just, I commend everyone that's watching this and just, encourage them, because there's times where you'll have to do things and learn things. It's like, I don't want to learn AI. I don't want to learn about landing pages, but you can't let that get in the way of the fact that at the end of this, by building out the model and putting all the pieces in place, what it's going to allow you to do is really help more people. And that's the thing that I know that each and every one person who gets started in speaking has that, that like, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to share my message. But a lot of times it just gets convoluted with,
they get bogged down with everything they got to do.
Autoresponders and
Yes.
like all of these kind of things. So it's just, I don't want to be sappy or cliche, but it's just remembering that, yes, you need to do that stuff, right? So that you can really fulfill that mission that you feel so strongly that you're supposed to be fulfilling.
So well said. So well said. And I'm going to say this about your team, especially about Nick, because I am probably the least technical person, but he was absolutely amazing to work with. And I love working with you guys. Chatbots is amazing. If you haven't already, check it out. If you're a speaker, if you're a solopreneur, you need to check Matt out. Check out his webinars. He's all over Facebook. But you know what? What you see here is what you get. He's the real deal. And will you come back?
I'm here. Yeah, let's go. Love it. Thank you so much for having me.
This has been Leah Whitford with SpeakerLife. Thanks for watching. And if you're a solopreneur, make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button below so you can see more rock stars like Matt Leitz and Chatbots.